Alrighty, guys. So it looks like it's about time to get started. I'm super excited everyone is here today. Just to get started, my name is Sarah. I work on the marketing team. And today we're going to be talking about what's coming up in Hatch. Today will be run by Chris and Susan. Susan is our director of product here, and Chris is our co-founder and beloved CEO. So you guys are going to be in great hands today. We'll go ahead and get started. Just like I mentioned before, this will be available online afterwards. We'll be sending out an email to everyone that attended today, and you can also forward it to anyone. So if anyone was not able to attend, go ahead and we can get them that link as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Chris, why don't you take it away?
I will. Hopefully you guys can hear me. First of all, thanks for the shout out, beloved CEO. I don't know how true that is, but I am really excited for today's webinar, specifically because I, don't- you guys probably know this as customers, but I've been working really close with almost every customer on how to improve Hatch. And we've taken that feedback and strategically built some things inside of the product today that will be available starting today and tomorrow and Monday. And then we have some things that are coming in the next few weeks that we think are going to do a couple things. One, drive a return on investment. That's always, like I always tell my team, number one is our customers have to get an ROI, and typically that means driving more revenue. But two, efficiencies. How do we help you guys become more efficient using the product in a bunch of different ways that maybe you weren't thinking about using it before? So my goal today is to work with Susan and show you guys a couple things. One is demo of Hatch 2.0. And not just the features, but Susan's been working really hard on mapping those features to business outcomes and how you guys can use it today. So I think what's cool is you'll see the demo, then you'll be able to jump in and use some of the new features immediately. That'll help you guys either drive sales or continue to become more efficient, or book a time with your CSM to add the stuff to your account. The second thing is when we talk about covering those big changes, we're going to go through the sales board itself, or the workspace, where you'll see a visual upgrade for sure. But there's also some specific features that Susan wants to show you that I think are going to be really beneficial for the users. We're going to jump in and tackle reporting. Reporting's been a big ask from all of our customers, and we think we've leveled up there quite a bit, and we're still building on it. Look at it as like reporting sort of version 1.5. And we'll continue to iterate. And we're working closely with a lot of our customers, call centers, call center managers, sales managers, and owners on how to continue to give you guys insight into what's exactly driving dollars, what is working and what isn't. And then we want to go over the contact screen a little bit. A lot of our current customers don't use the contact screen that much, but there's been some upgrades there. Then we'll even jump into a little bit about settings and how to set notifications and why we think notifications are important to the business, and how you can use notifications to get better at things like, reply time and getting back to people who text, email, or call even faster. And then at the end, we'll do a what's to come. So we'll give you a future sort of preview of what we're continuing to work on and build and how that's going to impact the business. So I'm excited about it. You can move the next slide there, Sarah. Awesome. So let's dive into Hatch. I want to introduce, if you guys haven't met Susan, she is our director of product and is absolutely fantastic when it comes to like figuring out what to build next and to get the team to do that quickly. So I'm excited for her to present all the stuff she's been working on. Susan, you can take it over.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Like Chris
Yep.
said, I am the director of product here. Really excited to show you guys everything that we've been working on. Really, we've been talking to so many of you. I'm sure some of you are on the call right now that you've spoken with me or Bill or Chris just on how you've been using Hatch today, how you want to be using Hatch, how you are or are not currently using our current reporting, as well as how you have been thinking about other strategies for using Hatch. So what I'm really hoping that you get out of this this presentation today is just some answers to those questions and some seeing the visual feedback that you've given us put into action. I really appreciate all the good feedback that we get from you guys on a regular basis. Also, before I get started, you can actually go check out some of this stuff early. After this webinar, if you go log into the product, you will see a pop-up that says go check out the new hatch early on. So encourage yourself as well as your teams to go check it out, take it for a test drive. And like Chris mentioned, early next week, it'll be live for everyone. So if you want to be one of those early adopters and go check it out early, you can go do that now. So I'm going to jump right into the product here. Give me just a second. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. So first, right off the bat, like Chris mentioned, a little bit of a design change, right? Nothing too dramatic has changed here for the sales board. I do want to tell you that, you don't have to retrain your team on how they're utilizing the sales board today. All of the personalization that you've maybe set up around your columns or how your workspaces are set up will be the exact same. So you don't need to worry about changing anything. A couple of things that we did want to call out here on the sales board is not only where you're seeing, but also kind of what's under the hood. So a big reason that we did this new rollout for the product is we heard a lot of feedback from you guys around maybe a little bit of slowness or performance issues, and we wanted to tackle those head on. We know that we send a lot of messages for you guys, and we want to make sure that we're always at the top of our game when it comes to stability and reliability. So a lot of that is happening, and we wanted to put a really great face on top of it, not just to drive out performance. But that is happening, so you're going to start noticing things loading a lot faster, which is really exciting. When it comes to personalizing your sales board experience here, if you haven't already, you can actually set up your columns to mimic your sales cycle. So whether that is 4 steps like you see here on mine, or maybe you have 24 steps. Whatever it is that you want to be able to do directly here, you can add a new column. You can call it whatever you want. I need to move my little GoToWebinar thing, sorry. Say you wanted to call it sent to manager, maybe that somebody had a question and you needed to move them to get approval or whatever it might be. Something new that we did add so that you can start moving things around as you want is the ability to drag and drop these columns wherever you want to go. So being able to personalize that even more so than you did before. You can still go ahead and click on it to move things around if you wanted to, but we wanted to make that a little bit easier, as well as you're going to notice the interface of just moving cards around is a lot smoother too. So we want to make sure that that was a great interaction for you. Like I said, overall functionality is very similar to the current product. So all of your new messages are going to still go into your inbound, or if you get a new message for something already on your sales board, you'll still get those notifications. We'll touch on notifications here in just a minute. And one thing that we wanted to call out here, which is really exciting, and some of you may be taking advantage of it. If you aren't, I highly encourage you to go check it out, is say you have a customer, let's look at Greg's card right here, that is asking you, hey, could you actually get back to me next Monday? Well, instead of you putting a calendar invite on your calendar to remember to reach out to Greg on Monday, you can do that directly in Hatch by just scheduling a future message, whether that is a text message or if you wanted to schedule a future email. So in this aspect, we are talking to Greg via email. So say I wanted to say, hi Greg, just following up. Oh, can't spell today, sorry about that. And I wanted to schedule it out to be going out next Monday. I could just select that, and I can select what time I wanted to go out. Maybe I wanted to go out earlier in the day, 1:30, save and send. This is now going to go out immediately at that time that I scheduled it to go out in the future. So it really takes a lot of the headache out of that reminder and remembering and just letting you guys know that these messages are going to go out. And then also on your sales board, you can see that I have a scheduled message to go out. So this is what will be going out on that date to take a little bit of the headache off of you guys, which I think is really cool. Previously, you could only do that via text. Now you can do that through text or email.
And Susan, just a little anecdotal side note, I was talking to a customer last week that had 4 customers that were going to wait until COVID sort of cleared up, and they knew financially they were okay to move forward, and they scheduled messages, and 2 of those 4 became sales. So something changed in that person's life where they felt better about spending the money, and the system did it for them. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And it really just, I mean, I don't know about you, remembering to send a message out weeks ahead of time is easy to forget.
Yep.
So one thing we also wanted to call out, which I know a lot of you have been asking for a long time, if you're already utilizing Hatch on your mobile device, you probably already actually are utilizing the new product, but our product now is mobile responsive. So say you have your team out in the field, or you have some of your teammates using tablets. Now Hatch is completely responsive to whatever it is that device size that you're utilizing. Oh, go away there. So say you're on your iPhone, you can now see everything on your iPhone that you want to be able to see. No worries at all of losing any of the information or having your screen get cut off or whatever it might be, which is really nice. On that same note, when it comes to Teams, we have been doing a lot of things to make sure that you can see who is on your team and what is going on with your team. Let me close out of that. So for instance, we have some new setting features here where you can actually jump in, same general information that you could before if you wanted to edit your name. You also can now tailor your workspace initials, something small, but I think you guys have been wanting to do that for a long time, or if I wanted to change this to your personal initials, you certainly could. But thinking of your team, you can see now who easily has notifications turned on and for what. So a lot of your team members, we highly encourage you to have notifications turned on so that if a new contact comes into the board, you aren't waiting for a long time to get back to that. We know speed to lead is super important for current customers as well as new customers coming in the door. So making sure that you guys are getting those notifications. You don't have to be sitting on your Hatch screen all day long waiting for those, but we'll let you know when something's available and it's time for you to start interacting with that contact. Same logic applies as it does today with notifications. If it's been sitting for 5 minutes or longer, we'll send you a note so you can jump back in immediately and start talking to them. One thing though that does change is instead of on your workspace settings, you would actually be able to go to your user settings to update your notifications across all of your workspaces that you have access to. So you won't have to jump in between different boards now to turn on your text or email notifications. You can do that all in one place. All right, going back over towards our contact information, the contacts page does look a little bit different now, but overall same information. We did make the contacts that are currently in a campaign visually different so you could see who is in a campaign that will be getting upcoming messages. Maybe you're getting ready to go talk to Sarah and you wanted to send her a message. You can take her out of the campaign when you send her a message so that you aren't also sending her campaign messaging. One thing that we did want to show you is let's say, I'm going to pull up Walter. He's somebody that I know I have an appointment with coming up. I'm going to open up his open card here. You can see that I sent him some appointment reminders with his appointment information. Something I wanted to call out here, which I'm sure some of you do know, but if you don't, we actually can do a lot of different things via Hatch when it comes to reaching out to your contacts. Many of you probably are using us for the traditional rehash campaigns. Maybe a few of you are using us for new leads that are coming in, but any of the information that's coming over from your database, whether that's a CRM system or whatever system you're using, we can actually segment audiences and start sending messaging out that's important to them. So for instance, in this situation, Walter has an upcoming appointment with me, and because his appointment date and time came over, I was able to actually send him out a campaign message with that information to remind him of that upcoming appointment and to make sure that all of that is going to be taken care of. So anything you guys can think of when it comes to the data that's coming over into Hatch, if you have ideas or if you have any questions about that, reach out to your customer success manager, and they'd be happy to walk you through all of the different strategies that Hatch can help you with. Awesome. All right, so the big kahuna now that I'm really, really excited to show you guys, we did a lot of discovery and talking to customers around reports. And if you are actively looking at reports, or maybe you are like, I didn't even know Hatch had reports. We previously were doing reports on the workspace specific level, where whatever your workspace is, for instance, the one we've been working on here is my appointments and installs workspace. I would typically have a reporting icon right here. We heard from a lot of our customers that it's great to see it on the workspace level, but I would really love to see how is Hatch performing for me overall when it comes to all of my workspaces. I don't want to jump into all the different workspaces and kind of compare numbers, but give it to me straight. Like I want to see it all. And so we did just that. We took all of our reporting information and added it all together when it comes to giving you that holistic view. So really presenting you that organization level view of everything that's going on in your Hatch account. This is based on your user settings. So any owners on the call that have access to all the workspaces, you would see that complete holistic view. If you have users who only have access to their workspace, they're only going to see reporting for their individual workspace. So no worries about any competition or anything like that, but maybe you want that. One thing to call out here, which I'm really excited about also, is the addition of these filters at the top. So they are going to default to the current week that you're looking at across all of your workspaces that you have access to, but you now have the flexibility to kind of pull in whatever date range you're looking for. I have to keep moving my little GoToMeeting guy, sorry. So if you wanted to look at your entire month, last month, whatever it might be, you could do that. Or if you wanted to pick custom date ranges, I know some of you are operating on different type of fiscal plans or fiscal years. So if you wanted to look at different types of week views, maybe you wanted to look at just this past weekend, whatever it is that you want to look at, you can do that now. And you can really get a honed in view of what's going on. For this, I'm going to take a look at this month. Across all my workspaces, it looks like I have about 14 sales for $75,000 across my workspaces. I also can see here which campaign brought in the most. So I have my reviews campaign, my appointments, and then I have my leads campaign going on. And I can get a breakdown high level of how each one of those are performing here. Over here, I can also see a leaderboard where I can see how are my workspaces doing in comparison to each other overall. So maybe you have these set up like mine are, where they're a little bit more on the strategy level, or maybe you have your workspaces set up for your different sales reps. You would be able to see a really great view of how each of your workspaces are performing when it comes to sales, specifically in this section. At the bottom here, we're going to give you a list of all of the sales. So how are we actually calculating that $75,000 number at the top? And you can jump into each of these contacts and the responses and get a little bit more information here. With this view, as well as another response view I'm going to show you, we've been talking to a lot of our sales managers, and they're really enjoying being able to get this level of detail from a coaching perspective. So your sales reps, are going out and they're talking and they're having this great performance. Who's actually having really good sales? What kind of conversations are they having? How are they closing these deals? It's a great opportunity to coach maybe some of your underperforming sales reps on some tips and tricks of what's working. Not only sales, but we wanted to break it out for engagement. We are an engagement tool for sure. So how many contacts are being imported? So all of the new contacts are getting added again from your database on a regular basis for that date range. How many have we added new to Hatch? Of that, in that date range, how many have launched into a campaign, responded, your response rate, and how quickly are your Hatch team replying back to the contacts that are responding to your campaigns? We highly encourage, your response rate to be high. We want the contact messaging that's going out to be well received and the contacts to want to respond back to you. So that response rate is something we keep a really close eye on, as well as we want your reply time to be low as well. We highly recommend it being less than an hour if all possible, so that when a contact does reply to your campaign, that they know that it is in fact you there on the other side ready to engage with them and have a conversation. So we really want you to be able to get back to that lead or that contact as soon as possible. We did also hear from some of you that you really were curious of how am I performing when it comes to my different channels. You have the expectation that, is email really doing well for me? Is text doing better? We wanted to really make that really clear for you all of how is your channels performing, so that you would get that quick view of knowing, okay, we should be sending more in this instance. I should be sending more text messages because my contacts are replying to my campaigns that I'm sending out with text messaging. If you were having better luck when it comes to emails or dropping voicemails, then you could also be recommending to be doing more of those in your upcoming campaigns.
Hey, also, Susan, while we're on here, I think what's really cool as I've been talking to customers is now, like, this is the organization view. So really, this is a roll up of all three of those workspaces that you see on the left: Insulin engagement, appointments, and RB, whatever that is. And then up top right, you have that all workspaces button next to the calendar. Yep. Now I can go through and say instantly, how is Home Advisor performing? That's interesting. Yep. Because now I know how many Home Advisor leads came in, how many got launched, which should pretty much equal, how many of those actually responded, and then I can drive down and see, is it text, is it email, how is that breaking out? And that's how we measure. I've been talking to customers how we're going to measure how well Instantly Engagement is working for Home Advisor. So I just wanted to show that real quick. I think it's fascinating, and it's going to help our conversations tremendously when we're trying to figure out how do we continue to get better with these different use cases. So.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah. So in addition to sales and engagement, we do have our campaign insights list. So keeping it on all workspaces for now, but I'll dive down in just a second. But you can actually see all of the campaigns across all of your workspaces and how they're performing. And then if you wanted to get a deep dive, let's say I want to look at my May appointments, report, I can go into my specific May appointments report. As you can see, it's on my appointments and installs board. This is how many of my contacts have launched and responded and how many sales I've made. So maybe I had some upsell opportunities when it came to setting my appointments. I can see those. Down here, I can look and see, I have to move my little guy again, sorry. I can look and see that, Greg and I have been talking about what day can we do the install. I can quickly jump to that conversation and see if there's any opportunities here of, are we having a hard time closing this? Is it we're having a lot of questions about our appointments or upcoming install dates? Is this an opportunity for me to go back to my team and talk to them about the language we're using or how quickly that we're closing some of these to get the appointment set or get the sale made? So really great opportunity here to really dive into those responses. And then if I want to jump in and actually start immediately replying back to Greg, maybe I'm a sales manager and I see, hey, there's an outstanding response here. What day can we do the install? Why hasn't anyone replied to him? I can jump directly into Greg's contact card and start messaging him as well. So I can coach my team to, not let responses sit without being answered. Chris, did you have anything else to add to the reporting?
No, I mean, I love it. It's just the beginning, which I think is what gets me so excited about it. And when I think about the campaign insights, I know a few people on this webinar specifically because they emailed me and said, hey, we're looking forward to seeing reports. Campaign insights allows us to drill down into things like a rehash campaign and look at responses and specifically objections. When we talk about the playbook, and we'll talk a little bit in a minute, I can't wait to the end of this slide presentation about how we're rolling out playbooks going forward. But if you think about just rehash and sales follow-up, right, it's all about understanding the objections. And really it's about understanding where you're going to get price. What customers are actually saying to you is, this is more expensive than I thought it would be. They're not saying they don't have the money. They're saying, if this is more expensive than I thought it would be, I never knew I was going to be quoted $30,000 for a windows, door, siding, something like that. So you now have access, and you've had it before, but I think it's so much clearer now of like, okay, I can dig down into a rehash campaign. What are the objections I'm getting, oh, here's one that says price, and you can open and see how are users responding to customers. And that's where the magic happens to me. That's where you really increase close rate. So I'm excited about reporting, and I think it's just the beginning. And Susan, I know you're going to show the future, but like, I think that's the beginning and where the power of this lies, especially when it comes to things like rehash and digging into those conversations to understand what are the objections. We know it's going to be price, who's handling them, and are they actually closing the deals? So.
No, 100%. Could not agree more. And like Chris was saying, this is truly the beginning of reports. We wanted to take what we had currently in the product, make it even more robust, give you that organization level view so that you could see what was going on across all of your workspaces. But in the process of doing that, we've already uncovered other metrics that we want to surface when it comes to further deep dive into engagement rates, when it comes to who's actually opening my emails and clicking my emails or whatever it might be, as well as better appointment information. So we're setting appointments. Maybe that is a higher metric to you and of more importance than actually the sales number. I just want to know that Hatch is helping me close more appointments. So we want to do even more discovery around that. So if anyone on this call has ideas or suggestions, I would love to talk to you and just make sure that we're servicing the right information that you all care about the most. Great. All right, and like I said earlier on, if you go to the product today, you will see a little pop-up to go check this out. So you can go check out your own reports today as well. And if you have any feedback or if anything looks wonky, let me know. It should be great, but I would love to get your feedback on it as well, like I was saying. All right, so as Chris also mentioned, we are going to do a little bit of the future, if you will. So I'm going to jump back over to our slides and show you kind of what's to come. So we have a lot of things in the works. We're going to be getting this out the door very soon. Like I said, you have the preview now. Next week, you'll be getting that for everyone on your team will be able to access all the new features when you first log in. But what else is coming? We're doing more. Like we mentioned today, reports, a voicemail drop. If you haven't checked that out or you haven't heard about that, it's the ability to actually pre-record a voicemail to send to a contact later on in a campaign. So if you're interested in doing that, it is a great personalized touch. We're going to be doing some more around that. Smart search is going back to what I was showing you in that contact card, all of the fields that come over from your database. How do you actually want to be segmenting and building an audience to be really strategic in your messaging and making sure that you're hitting your company goals? We can do that with what we're calling internally smart search. Campaign templates. I'm going to give you a preview here in just a minute, a couple of these other ones, as well as suggested responses. I'll go into that in just a second. Instant lead engagement, kind of touched on it just a minute ago with the ability to pull in all of your Home Advisor leads and do campaigns for those. But any place that you're getting leads today, we can actually plug those into Hatch and start automating them in a campaign. This is huge for some of our customers who maybe are picking up the phone and calling every single lead that comes in. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and sometimes the lead isn't even actually good information. So let Hatch kind of take that hard work off of you and your team of doing that initial vetting for your leads, where we can send out a text or send out an email based on the information you're getting to see if they're actively looking and interested to have a conversation, and then you guys jump in from there. So it's been a huge success with a lot of our customers. If you haven't heard about that or taken advantage of it, let us know. We'd love to tell you more. Again, more team management. We're just kind of on the cusp of learning how you guys want to be bringing in your entire team with more workspaces, with reps out in the field using their devices to get onto Hatch. More mobile functionality kind of moves into that. And then Chris is going to touch on Hatch University here in just a second. I'm going to give you guys a quick preview of a couple of things that we are in progress of working on. If it will click. There it is. So one thing we didn't touch on here, which you're going to notice when you go into the product, is campaigns. If you're actively building campaigns right now, you will still be utilizing our current campaigns, but we are building a new campaign structure. It is much more of a walkthrough guided experience of how to build out campaigns. We want you all to feel comfortable building your own campaigns, getting in there, sending out quick messages if you want to run a certain promotion or if you want to talk to certain customers who look like this. The new builder is going to really guide you through that experience that you feel very comfortable doing that on your own. But again, always welcome to give you a lowdown on it as well and show you how it works. And this is what I'm really most excited about is campaign templates. Hatch has been doing this for 4 years, right? We've been running these automated campaigns. We've been talking to contacts, talking to customers. We're seeing what is converting. And we have this gallery of templates that we are powering you all with, but it's really, we have to give it to you. Now we're going to put it into the product. So say you are curious about doing new leads or a new lead campaign, you can go in here and take a look at the templates, look at the messaging, start building that out. And then when you're ready to plug that into, say, your Home Advisor account, you let us know and we'll get that all synced up and out the door. You can take a look at all of the different languages. Maybe you're currently running a rehash cancel campaign, but you didn't really think about doing a rehash quoted. Go in here and check out the template and see what kind of language it is and how it would work best for you and your company. We want really people to feel comfortable with sharing this information and being able to build their own campaigns. This one I think is Chris's favorite to talk about is the suggested responses. So going back to his example of now that you have access to seeing in your campaign reports, what are some of the objections that are coming in? How is your team replying to those? Do you feel confident that they're saying what you would want them to say? Hopefully the answer is yes, we do great training, but sometimes, it's not that easy and we know that. But how would it be if maybe when they're going through messaging and in this example, John Doe was saying, the price was too high, so I'm going to get some other quotes. If you had a suggested response that was pre-populated into Hatch, we certainly have some that we can share with you all, but I think a lot of you also have scripts that you would want your teams to follow. You could actually put that into the product, and all they'd have to do is click on the it was price, and it would pre-populate for them. Maybe they make a couple of small tweaks to personalize it, but overall you could actually store some of these responses that are most common to your business to be able to power your team with a really consistent experience. I'm really excited about this one.
I am super excited about this one. I've got call centers that have been asking me and saying, hey, can we preload a script? Because what happens is the people responding to these customers change often for us, and it's hard to train these people to respond appropriately. That's hard to scale. And so now you basically, sales managers and owners can control how you handle price objections. This is how you increase close rate. I am stoked about this one. And then we have in the background, I think is interesting, machine learning what is getting the best responses that become sales. So eventually the machine will also help guide users on what to say to people that give certain objections. So this is exciting to me.
For sure. And then lastly, one that I'm really, really excited about, right now we're doing a lot of this for you, but we want to really empower our users to be able to hook up Hatch to all of your favorite apps. So say you already have your CRM or also have your Home Advisor or whatever it might be, bringing in all of your new contacts. But say, for example, here, these are actually two active companies that we're working with to get some integration partnerships stood up. But maybe you're using Company Cam to take photos of your projects while you're out and about, or you are building out 3D renderings of homes using Hover, and you want to run a campaign with some, rehash quoted or whatever it might be, to go back and say, hey, here's a link to the photos that we took of your home, or the 3D rendering, or the estimate that we did with you. Go check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm really excited to really expand our app marketplace, as well as make it visual to everyone and all of our customers, to be able to set this up and sign up yourselves and plug them all together, so that if you want to pull in data from somewhere else, it's going to be right there for you. And if you have any suggestions or ideas of other vendors that we should be partnering with, please let me know. I'd love to start talking to them.
Love it. Hatch University. This is the last thing, guys, and then we'll do a quick Q&A. Hatch University, I'm actually really excited about this because it's a combination of a bunch of different feedbacks that we've gotten from folks. But essentially, in the next month, we're going to be launching Hatch University, which is the ability for users, sales managers, and owners to get certified on Hatch. And what you get through that certification is not just how to use the product, but you're also going to get certified on talk tracks, how to handle objections for rehash, how to schedule appointments better, how to be experts at things like automation and setting up campaigns. And what I'm excited about this is for a couple reasons. One, I think understanding something like reporting and being able to use that in the business is just critical. And there's no way you guys have time to go figure it out on your own. So why not give you a portal where you can jump in and learn this stuff on your own time? You get to become certified. You'll know exactly how to use the reports for your team. But what I also think is cool is that what we're seeing is that no matter where you go in your career, you can take the learnings from Hatch and apply them. So if you stay at one place for 50 years, great. Use all the learnings that we've learned from the industry and apply it. But if you do make a career change, you can take some of this stuff like objection handling, price objection handling, how to do that with technology, texting, how quickly to do it, what to say in your first text versus your fifth text. All that stuff that we've had in our brains over here at Hatch, but haven't put on paper, is finally becoming a livable university where you can go and actually get certified. And then you can get, everything from the basics all the way to sort of becoming a master at it. And so we see this, you've probably seen other platforms launch things like this, like HubSpot, maybe even Salesforce. This is for us. This is Hatch for us, for the home improvement industry. I'm so excited about it. The curriculum looks just amazing. And I think it's going to be valuable, and it allows you to, if you think about, like I'm thinking about my call center users specifically, if you got call center managers with 8, 9, 10 reps using Hatch, how do you get them all up to speed? And if 3 of them leave, how do you get the new 3 to get up to speed fast? This is the way that you're going to be able to do it. And as soon as they get certified, they'll know the basics, or they'll at least know how to use suggestive responses to reply to rehash. This allows you to scale no matter what happens to the business. And so I'm even thinking about like the recent call centers who had to furlough some folks. They used to have 10 call center reps that went down to 4. Wouldn't it be great that those 4 got Hatch certified and they were able to handle more than they were before because it's needed? So Hatch University, I'm super excited about, and we're going to be launching it the next month. So be on the lookout for that. We can't wait for you guys to join us and continue to grow this knowledge base, so that as a community, we are like adding to this and continuing to get better and better, not just with the product, but also with like sales, handling objections, appointment confirmations. How quickly do you do them? What's the average response rate? And then implementing that in the business. So excited about it. So I guess we'll open this up. First thing I'll just mention, if you guys have any questions, anybody on the call today that has questions about how do I implement any of this, from voicemail drop to like reporting to how do I get other people up to speed, or maybe you saw a use case today that you don't currently use but are interested in. Bunch of different ways to do that. You see Joe, Lauren, and Margaret. They're also on the call. They've got Calendly links where you can essentially book 15 minutes. That's convenient for you guys. Also, you can text our support team. Let us know if you, if you have questions, obviously, but if you want to book a time with us to go over any of those things, we're available for you.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Susan, for everything. We'll go ahead and take some questions. I've got a couple I wanted to ask. The first one comes from, actually, Lauren had a question. Who has access to reports?
Yep, great question. So it is whatever you have access to report on, whatever workspaces you have access to. So if you are an owner and you have access to all of the workspaces in your company, then you would be able to see the reporting for all of it. If you say, Lauren, you are only in one workspace for a company that has 10, you would see reporting for your single workspace.
Awesome. We also have a question coming in from John. He asked, what's the time frame on the university? This can be extremely helpful, and I wish more companies had this.
Awesome, John. That's great. I think our game plan is we've got the content. So now we're trying to professionalize it and put it in a place that we can actually roll out. The game plan is 30, 45 days. So I've given myself like a 15-day buffer. But I think within 30, 45 days, we're going to have at least the first 3 or 4 courses done. And then the game plan is to keep on going from there. And Sarah, who's actually emceeing the call, is going to be in charge of a lot of that stuff. So stay tuned. We'll announce it via email, text, and your CSMs are going to announce it as they're working with you guys on your accounts. So I'm thinking 30, 45 days. Oh, and before I go there, we also have some playbooks that will come before then. And by playbooks, I mean, how are other companies building teams around use cases like Rehash? We got 3 examples of teams that are solving that problem, how they're using Hatch to solve it, how they're answering different objections, and then how they're tracking that and using reporting to hold it accountable. So all that stuff will be there, and then to get certified on it will be 30 days. So I just want to clarify, like some of this stuff's going to be out really, really soon, like maybe 4 or 5 days, and then certifications will come 30 days after.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
I have a question about CRM. Do you partner with Market Sharp?
We do, yes. So we do partner with Market Sharp.
Awesome. What are some other, how do people know like what integrations we have available?
Yeah. So on our website, if you go to usehatchapp.com, we do have an integration section on the website. So if you are curious of which ones we integrate with, those are there. Mostly those I want to say are CRM integrations. But like I mentioned, when it comes to new leads coming into Hatch, if you are using something, pretty standard in the market, say Home Advisor or anything around that to get your new leads in, or if your CRM is able to pull in leads, then we can get those directly into Hatch as well. But we also support smaller lead sources like Ninja Forms and WordPress and things like that. And some of them we actually can pull in via Zap. So if you have leads coming in, whether they're from your website or a smaller lead form or whatever it might be, reach out to your customer success manager and let them know what your source is for leads, and we'll figure out the best way to get those into Hatch so you can start engaging with them.
Cool. I feel like this is a super pointed question, but Margaret asked, have you added tooltips for the icons in Hatch app?
Yes, well, for the major icons such as your workspace settings, your profile, your reports, your contacts, and your board, yes, there are tooltips that go over there. On reports, there is also tooltips, as well as we are working on a frequently asked questions in product section to answer any questions you have around how we are calculating any of those reporting metrics.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that. There are tooltips, but there also is going to be that resource center. When you log into this new version, in the bottom right corner, if you're on the sales board, you'll see a little question mark. If you open that, that'll give you access to any documentation, any articles that we've written, as well as some walkthroughs that you can go and check out that'll take you through the sales board, contacts, reports, the stuff that we've gone through today. Let me see if there's any more questions that we want to ask. Someone's asking, do we have API documentation available on our website?
It is not on our website, but if you do want API documentation, just reach out and we can hook you up with what you're looking for, whether it's CRM or for leads.
Cool. let me just go ahead and ask one more, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Will you enable Saturday only messages instead of both Saturdays and Sundays? This question comes from Chris.
Ooh, I love that question. And we actually have been talking about, out of office, custom holidays, schedules, things like that. So I would love to, whoever submitted that question, I'd love to talk to you and figure out more. And if you have any other ideas of how you would want to organize that for your organization or workspace, we are in the process of building that out right now. So if you have ideas, please reach out to your CSM or reach out to me directly. I'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you have any questions or weren't able to answer your question, we had a lot of questions come in, go ahead and reach out to your customer service success managers, and they will be able to answer that. And we'll also be sending out, like we said, this webinar as well as some follow-up resources if you have any questions. And then you can log in and actually see this right now. So you guys can go check it out.
Awesome. Great job, team. I think this is really good. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. I want to end by saying that, our customers are now using Hatch for about 11 different use cases in the business. It doesn't apply to every business in home improvement, but there's 11 use cases right now. And when I look across our customer base, we're probably seeing most people have only dug into 3 or 4. So there's so many different opportunities to use Hatch for automation and messaging, for things like appointment confirmations, and just, I mean, the list goes on. So please get in touch with your customer success manager. We want to get you hooked up. You guys are getting all the value out of the product. But thank you guys so much for showing up. We appreciate you.